This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. Cowherd out again. He must be just so sick and down. And oh wait, he did his radio show today. But fear not, Christine Leahy filling in today. Whitlock gives us a step-by-step breakdown of why Steph Curry should be the man on the Warriors over Kevin Durant. Our Fox NBA basketball expert, Chris Broussard, tells you no, Durant can do more, and that will make the difference in their title run. I just want to remind you guys, if you heard yesterday's podcast, I told you they're going to steamroll to the title. I predict right here on the podcast, the Warriors go 16-2 in the postseason. That's it, 2 losses. Maybe one in the finals and one before. That's it. Fox basketball analyst Jim Jackson tells you that LeBron already knew he was not going to play, and his source at the Cavs tell him that no one is concerned about the #1 seed. And the most fun topic of the day, LeBron, Westbrook, CP3, and their disdain for Steph Curry. It's really a fascinating breakdown how Curry used to be friends with them, and then he passed all of them, and now they're no longer friends. We talk about Bryant's controversial Instagram post, and former NFL head coach Eric Mangini says Colin Kaepernick is better suited to control a huddle now than last year. And remember, everybody, Mangini knows Colin Kaepernick well from San Francisco. Ready for Speak For Yourself? Take it away, Whitlock.
All right, hello and welcome. Cowherd is out, so I'm joined today by his co-host of The Herd, Christine Leahy, plus Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard and Jim Jackson. Let's start in Miami, where TMZ Sports caught LeBron and some of his teammates partying at a nightclub Sunday night, just hours before LeBron set out the Cavs game against the Heat on Monday, which they lost. LeBron and the Cavs are now likely to be the 2 seed in the East behind Boston after making it clear in recent weeks that the regular season doesn't mean a whole lot to them. This is a horrendous look. This is probably the worst look. Of all the controversy about resting stars, this is the worst one. You fly to Miami, even though you're not going to play. You go out and party on South Beach. And then I'm too tired to play. I need to rest my body. This is taking a dump on the regular season in massive proportions. This is spitting in the face of fans. This is Miami, where he won championships. He doesn't owe that fan base an effort, a game. Bad look for LeBron James.
LeBron James is the gift that keeps on giving of bad looks. And I'm going to tell you why. How much money does he have in his bank account right now? Upward, like $1 billion something, right? From his shoe deals. He will. So this guy can afford a private room. If he wants to avoid the TMZ cameras, he can go to the club, sit in the back, be chill. And also, he took a private jet. He didn't fly on the team plane. He took a private jet with only a select few of his teammates before they went to Miami. And that's just not the kind of chemistry you want to be building before you're heading to the playoffs. Am I right? Look at you laughing. Why are you laughing?
I'll wait till Chris talks.
I mean, look, he was just arguing on the court with Tristan Thompson, a week or 2 ago, and everybody, their relationship is terrible. Tristan was one of the dudes hanging out with him. So nobody's saying they're cool. You see, there's no problems. Look, is it the best look? This is irrelevant. I agree with you. I don't like them resting and not playing games. I agree with you on that. But saying this is a bad look for LeBron, do people really not think he goes out
Odell
and hangs
Beckham,
out?
LeBron?
He's not Odell Beckham. He's won 3 championships. He's in his 14th year. He's got a right to do what he wants.
You absolutely do. And I have no issue ever with guys going out to party, honestly,
so what's
which
the big
is
deal
shocking
then?
even to me. But don't rest the next night and don't be complaining all season how you need so much rest and then go out to the club. Go to bed.
Hold on. First of all, he knew that he wasn't going to play. They already had that conversation before he even went out. So first, he knew he wasn't going to play.
Stay your ass at home.
No, he wasn't going to do that.
In Cleveland.
He wasn't going to. Listen, let me tell you something. Coaches know this. You go to Miami, New York, Chicago, Atlanta, and L.A., likelihood we're going to have some issues in the game because guys go hang out.
So it's built into the game.
Coaches already know that. A lot of coaches even stay a little longer, or they'll leave. They already know that it's built in that those cities, guys are going to hang out. And if we can walk out of there with a W, great. If not, we understand it. So LeBron is on a whole different level. Michael Jordan used to go out and gamble.
And play.
He was in
Hold on.
the night before.
Hold on. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, yes, he played, but Charles Barkley would go out and drink and party before games. Yes, but he would play. Don't get me wrong. If this affected LeBron's performance on the court...
Well, because he doesn't perform.
Hold on, wait. He performed enough to know. I'm not for sitting out. Don't get me wrong. I'm not for it.
I'm from the 1 seed.
I'm not, but they don't care. So when I talk to the Cavs, my source at the Cavs, they not concerned about it. Now, I'm concerned because I watched that game last night against Miami. At the end, the same thing that creeped up that's been killing them is the defensive end of the court. They can score the ball, but defensively, to me, is where I see the disconnect with the Cavs, where they could get stops when they needed it. They're not getting them now. That's my concern.
What if he was sitting out with a pulled hamstring? Could he still not go to the club?
No, I actually am okay with him going to the club as long as he sits down, doesn't dance.
He was sitting down right there.
That's fine, but I guarantee you that's not where he ended his evening.
How you know? Now you speculate. Now you speculate.
Come on, Jim.
It's speculation.
I don't know what he did.
It might be speculation, but it's educated speculation.
Okay.
And I'm just going to say, I think that he is continuing.
He's not a boxer. I'll just say that.
He is continuing to prove to us and just tell us over and over he doesn't care about the regular season. And now he's saying he doesn't even care about home court advantage, potentially against the Celtics. And I personally have witnessed LeBron fall apart in Boston.
Thank you. That's the good point.
Not against this Boston team.
That was
not against this Boston team.
Isaiah Thomas on the level of the big three in Boston.
And
that was a much younger LeBron.
Exactly.
There's no question. He has witnessed his last 2 years.
Not Odell Beckham Jr.
Because Odell Beckham Jr. has not won 3 championships, 4 MVPs, and played 14 years in the league.
You can do whatever. You can go to any club. You can do
pretty much.
You can sit out games. You can take a dump on the regular season.
If you
win
have
championships. Nothing matters other than LeBron's happiness. Let's just throw rose
If you have a bad week on SFY, are you not going to Vegas? Are you going to let that ruin your life?
Yes, you are. You still
can't hang out and have fun?
No, I'm going. No, I take care of business. I don't call in.
That's what he's doing. But see, here's the problem. For so long, the difference is whether it was Michael with Phil, he was accountable. Whether it was Pat Riley with Magic or these teams, they were accountable. Whether it was Pop in San Antonio, they were all accountable. LeBron has never been that.
Yeah.
With Mike Brown, even I'm gonna give him a little bit in Miami.
Yeah, in Miami.
He had to adhere to certain things. But going back to Cleveland, everything was him.
Wait, but you made a really good point that coaches do kind of alter their schedule based on what cities are
they do.
To either get out of town before their players can go out or to let them enjoy themselves. LeBron is bypassing all of that by using a private jet. So he's basically giving
that's a
a
$1 billion
huge middle
problem.
finger.
That's a $1 billion issue right there.
It's a bad look, and
let me end this. Let me end this.
Go ahead.
Approval rating just dropped to 66% for LeBron. To the Western Conference, where the Warriors lost at home to the Jazz last night. The loss doesn't really matter for Golden State, but it was Kevin Durant's second game back from injury and his first game playing with Steph Curry again, who clearly outshined him. Here's Kevin Durant on his first game back with Steph.
Well, 9 for 16, 6 threes, 28 points. I guess I don't make him worse after all. Came out tonight and shot the ball extremely well, got us going on the offensive end. It looks like we could play together. So, yeah, he's, it felt good to be out there with him again, and we just, continue to keep building.
That tablecloth is he wearing? Is that from the Cracker Barrel collection? I've never seen that.
I love it.
He brought it from Oklahoma.
But listen, I think last night proves to me for the rest of this year, Steph first, Steph's team. They won 14 straight with it being Steph's team. They got into a groove. They would have won last night. They set their starters at the end of the fourth quarter, the second half of the fourth quarter. They would have beaten Utah and kept the winning streak going. They are a better team this year, I think, with Steph Curry as the alpha dog, as the star player with the offense going through him. Kevin Durant is probably their most talented player. Kevin Durant, if he were fully healthy for the entire season, I wouldn't be saying this. But coming off an injury this close to the playoffs, Steph should be the lead dog leading them back to the championship?
I am never, ever for telling a guy to take a back seat when he is as good as Kevin Durant. Actually, any player. Why would you want a guy to lose his killer instinct? And I don't understand this concept that if Durant is awesome and full throttle, that Steph's going to melt away. He's not. I think it's very possible.
He melted earlier in the year.
No, he did, but it does take some time to adjust and build chemistry. And we've seen it happen before where the star steps away, the other guys step up to the plate. And I think it can mesh once they're all back together.
Well, this is the thing. I do think they need Steph to be the engine of the offense, taking long threes, taking bad shots, which he's done throughout the last few years, and hitting some of them. They just play better when they have that type of swag. And the difference is this. If Steph's not launching threes, hitting threes, driving to the bucket and scoring, he's not really helping you in other ways. Durant can help you defensively. He's your leading rebounder. He's going to get his points much more efficiently than Steph does. He shoots 54%. So he doesn't need the amount of looks that Steph needs to get his. So I do think you play through Steph, and Durant's going to get you 25 just by accident.
Very smart.
But what are we talking about, though? Steph is averaging 2 more points.
They're both around 25.
Okay, but I'm saying, but shooting a couple more percentage points higher. So it's not like Steph was averaging 19 and now he's averaging 27 with Durant on the floor. To me, it goes back to this. In game situations, who's going to take the last shot? Who's going to be there? Now, it all depends on who's rolling that night, and coaches understand that. Last year, you had a dichotomy with, is it Steph or Clay that's going to take the shot? To me, it's a matter...
There wasn't much of a debate.
But no, here's the thing. Whose team is it doesn't matter at this point, because deference comes with who's rolling. They're so unselfish as a team, it doesn't hurt them. I understand you want to have a lead person. I understand that. It's different if you had alpha males.
You
but
don't.
the alpha male you got on that team is Draymond Green.
Yeah. Exactly.
So they're not competing for shots. You know?
So you telling me tight playoff game and it's going to be a game time decision. There's not going to be an impulse reflection amongst those players to, you know what, let me have the ball.
Never.
I don't think they're built like that. I really don't, and especially with the influence of Steve Kerr in regards to what we're doing on offense. If Clay is rolling that game, I do believe those players would be like, we need to run something for Clay if he's rolling. And they wouldn't be mad if he gets the ball because that's their personality. On other teams, I would say, you know, if you're talking about New York and they're rolling, no, Carmelo got to have the ball.
Golden State's the unicorn. They're the perfect team.
No, they are, but that's why it works, and
big.
that's why they got Kevin Durant. It's whoever's hot at the end of the night. And also, it's a very dangerous thing to ask Durant to step back the year before he could potentially leave Golden State.
You're going to see the benefit of Kevin Durant more in the playoffs than the regular season. Because in the playoffs, when teams can focus on Golden State, focus on Steph, get more physical with him, that's when they can bottle him up a little bit more than the regular season. But now when you do that, you got Durant right there to light it up.
Both of you guys, all three of you guys, have you ever seen that? You were at Boston team with Paul Pierce, Kevin Durant, and Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen.
Older. They were older.
But again, have you ever seen an environment where no one really cares who gets the last shot?
That big three, that was a team. Don't you think?
And that was actually a team with a lot of ego. A lot of those guys had ego, but it was.
Paul Pierce, the ball ran through Paul Pierce.
No, but when he's hot, and
Rondo had an ego at the time.
Rondo had an ego. Ray did too, and KG has an ego. But it would default to who's hot right now. Because at the end of the day, they did want to win.
When your three pieces, if you have a big three, fit together and do different things, which these guys, because they're all such great shooters, they can fit. One doesn't have to dominate the ball. I think it's easier.
Well, also the Detroit Pistons with Chauncey, with Rip Hamilton, with Rasheed Wallace. Now, they weren't the super all-stars or great players, but it was a deference going on depending on what was going on in the series, which made them so great. They didn't care.
I'm always hot on this show, so I should do all the talking. Welcome back. Christine Leahy sitting in for Colin Cowherd. We're joined once again by Jim Jackson, and now joined by the founder of The Big Lead, Jason McIntyre. Let's return to the NBA, where according to a new book, LeBron James has, quote, disdain for Steph Curry. The book's author, Marcus Thompson, offered a deeper explanation on our friend McIntyre's radio show on Saturday.
There was a time where LeBron and Steph were like little brother, big brother. LeBron was like a mentor. He was a big fan of Curry. He would go to Curry's games at Davidson. even when they got to the NBA, they had moments where LeBron is looking at him like, wow. And then Steph kind of like challenged LeBron's status.
We're looking at a real Nino Brown G Money situation for those of you guys old school.
Jack City.
So, listen, I think resentment is actually a good thing. It's a good motivator. Steph Curry rose up and became a two-time MVP, challenged LeBron's dominance of the league a little bit. I like the fact LeBron resents him a little bit, and there's a little animosity and tension. I'm tired of everybody being BFF in the NBA.
I agree with you. I don't mind resentment at all and a little tough love, but I'm just wondering why LeBron is resenting Steph Curry for his overnight success, because LeBron went from high school to the chosen one essentially overnight and called himself the king before he ever had a ring. So how can he be mad at Steph Curry for all of a sudden finding himself and turning it on in the last 2 years and figuring out how to perfect his game?
You know, the timing is everything in sports, obviously. So LeBron goes back to Cleveland. He is all over the world, the biggest sports star. And what happens? Steph Curry and the Warriors come out of nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. They hadn't won a playoff series, I think gone deep into the playoffs, and they win the championship, right? So stole LeBron's thunder from going back to Cleveland. The next year, they win 73 games. Fans love them. He is the #1 selling jersey. And they go all the way to the finals again. He stole LeBron's thunder. Remember this. When Michael Jordan started winning those titles, he had no peer. LeBron has a peer now in Steph Curry.
Well, let's put it in...
That made you think.
No. Let's put it in simple terms. We all have that issue in regards to this. You're going to look over your shoulder a little bit. Christine, if there's a young, beautiful woman that comes in here, starts doing the job, I don't care what you say, sometimes in the back of your mind, Jason, you... Kobe.
Colin resents me.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But it's a natural feeling. It's like if you're big brother and you got a little brother or sister that comes in, they start getting more attention. That's what happens. You think Kobe, when LeBron came in, wasn't like too happy that LeBron was getting the shine? It happens. It's a natural occurrence. You hate to say that, but Chris Paul was one time the guy at point guard position. Here comes Steph. So, yes, they're going to look back a little bit, and you say, well, why? They're ultra successful. At the same time, sometimes it's human nature in regards to looking over your shoulder at the next best thing, even though they may not be as accomplished, but it happens.
I get that, and money does not buy happiness.
At all.
Doesn't mean anything at all.
It
but
rents
don't do it in such a petty way where he's making cookies of little tombstones of Steph Curry's jersey.
That's not human nature, Jim.
Well, that right there is just...
That's petty.
That's what?
That's fun.
You just
fun.
Oh.
But listen,
you playing
I
too
listened
much.
Stepping over.
Your full interview with Marcus Thompson, it wasn't just LeBron James.
Yeah.
It's more, it's the Westbrook.
Yeah.
Chris Paul. Yeah, remember Westbrook last year, they were asked about Curry's defense. He laughed in the press conference, guys. Laughed at Steph Curry. Like, that guy plays defense? We're talking about an above-the-rim league, the NBA. Everybody's dunking. Steph Curry ain't dunking. He's below the rim.
Is so
three-point
non-threatening in his look, his demeanor. I guarantee if it was somebody that had dog in him that was a little bit different, then that conversation would be not as amenable because they were more of a threat physically to those three. Steph is not a threat physically.
Steph has any dog in him?
Not like that.
No, you know what, Steph? I think part of the fuel behind this is like a really black issue, inside black issues. No, I think the prominent, really successful father and the pampered life. Grant Hill dealt with it. And so I just think other guys that come from a tougher background, they got a little side. I'm like, man, of course you should be. Man, if I had a father,
no, that's right. And
I could shoot with my toes.
But it does mean something that his father too. His mom, ultra successful. She was an athlete. His father, NBA. How he looks, how he carries himself, how the media has made him a darling he couldn't do wrong.
You know who else? But
I love Steph.
Steve Kerr. Remember how angry Shaq was when Steve Kerr won the MVP? Not Steve Kerr. Steve Nash. Steve Nash wins the MVP award, and Shaq was irate. How could you give it to Steve Nash? Little point guard? Come on, I'm the man. We're seeing this all over again.
But again, how about Mark Jackson? You're blaming Steve Kerr. Mark Jackson anointed this guy the best shooter in NBA history very early in his career. There's been a lot of hype surrounding Steph Curry, and I just think all of his background is interesting and plays into it. you know, he's Carlton from The Fresh Prince that can actually play.
But see, that's the thing, and that's
that
the
can
thing
actually play.
That's the thing.
That's the way.
That's my favorite guy.
But that's the thing that makes it so tough.
Who can do that dance? What's the Carlton dance? Oh,
you can say what you want, but he gets it done. That's the thing.
All right, welcome back. Christine Leahy sitting in for Colin Cowherd. We're joined once again by Chris Broussard and Eric Davis. All right, let's move to Dallas, where Cowboys receiver Dez Bryant threw a curveball that will surely make the heads of social justice warriors over Twitter make their heads explode. Bryant used his Instagram feed to post a thoughtful and compelling message about race in America. He said in part, instead of making videos about the history of racism that get applause or people with influence merely doing things to post for social media, we should focus on individual accountability to be better as a whole. We focus hard on fighting the realities that exist instead of creating our own reality. The ones who came before us, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, paved a new path for us to follow. The struggles and hurt they endured created new life for us today. It's not our job to carry the burden, but it's our job to lead by example. Man, I thought this was terrific. I thought what Dez said is more thoughtful, more nuanced than anything that has come out of the mouth of Colin Kaepernick. I don't say that with some bias because clearly I'm not a Kaepernick fan at this point. But I think any objective look at what this guy posted over Instagram and his message about, look, it's not 1960s. People made some sacrifices for us, created new opportunities for us. Let's focus on the opportunities rather than just looking in the background and looking at the limitations in front of us. We would be more successful looking at all the opportunities and going after those than just constantly cycling through complaint. I thought the message was terrific.
Well, I'm going to leave Colin Kaepernick out of this part of the conversation. And I think oftentimes we get on players for posting things on Instagram, like their shoes and their girls and their money and their planes. And now we have, now we have a guy that's posting something obviously very well thought out. It was a very long message. And obviously I'm the only white person here at the table. But he said something that I also, you know, it resonates with me, is that I look for the opportunities in things rather than the limitations. And I'll be the first to say I completely see that there are limitations for Black people still in our country, and that's unfortunate. But what he is saying, I think everyone can really listen to, that the more you focus on the opportunity rather than the limitation. And I'm not saying ignore the limitations. We still need to make sure we're thinking about that. But opportunity is always the way to go. Yeah,
that's where I don't think you have to pit Bryant against Kaepernick. This is what happens on TV. I mean, whenever Black people are on TV talking about the plight of Black Americans, you have the one side that only wants to focus on the system and the obstacles that are in our path, and they just berate that and don't talk about Black responsibility. Then you have the other side that they just focus on what Black people need to do. Pull up your pants, stop, you know, making babies out of wedlock. And they don't want to say anything is wrong with the system. It's both. What Bryant said is right, and I believe what Kaepernick did is fine, because unarmed Black men really are getting shot down in the street by police. You know, the war on drugs has been focused on people of color. These are facts. So I think you need Blacks who are speaking out against the system and the obstacles that are in our path, and you need us to say, look, we do have some corrections we need to make with ourselves. We can take our destiny to our own hands and be responsible ourselves as well. It's both, not either or.
And first, I want to say this, very well said, and the growth that he has shown as a person. This is someone who was fighting his mama not too long ago, okay? And now
he's got to show it too.
But this is what I'm saying. By writing this shows me that maybe he is trying to get beyond the babysitters. He's talking about taking care of the piece of the earth that you can control and how you can make things better. Yes, as you just said, things are not perfect, but things are nothing like they used to be. And he's saying, let's look at that, take advantage of that, and move forward with that. So he's going to try to better himself because he sees that there are people watching him and that he has influence on them. If you read more of it, where he's saying he has run into friends that said, you changed my view on things, and I wish I had taken a different path. So since you have that type of influence on people, try to do the right thing and try to make the world better around you. Now, as far as Cap in this situation, I think there are two ways you can look at it, just like Chris is saying. I can give change to a guy on the street and let him go buy himself a burger or beer, whatever he wants. Or I can give that change to an organization that is all about trying to find a way to educate that man, to give him skills to get a job, to clothe him, to feed him, to get him off the streets and better his life. Now, people may view me walking past that guy on the street and say, you could have given him that change, you can afford it, but you don't know that I'm giving it to this other organization that is using it. And I think that's what Dez is saying. Don't just come up here and show the pictures and act like you're part of the cause like you say all the time. Actually do the work. And there are a lot of different ways you can do the work.
Chris, here's one thing where I thought this would really resonate with you, given the organization you started, King and all that. I love the point that he's making. It's a big picture thought, and this guy is being reflective. Create your own reality. Instead of worried about existing in someone else's reality and how they deal with you in their reality, we have the power, and particularly those of us that have any faith upbringing. If you really believe what the Bible teaches and what you were taught in church, if God is on our side, how could I fail? It doesn't say, oh, if the white man, this magical white man's not on your side, you're gonna fail and you better fix that. We have the ability to control our own destiny, create our own reality. And so, again, just as a father, you parent the kids in your home and let the other people parent the kids in the other homes.
If the other neighbors are keeping my children from being able to do what I'm telling them to do or what they're capable of doing, then I also am going to call them out. I agree with his call for personal responsibility.
So let me stop
I'm just saying, let's not just focus on black people.
Let me make one other point about
Let's focus on everybody and what everybody's doing.
Overwhelming majority of black people live amongst other black people. We start there. We may move out somewhere. And so when we start talking about the neighbors' kids, we're actually talking about our kids. And what environment have we created in our own neighborhoods that make it harder for our kids to feel safe, get educated, blah, blah, blah. So again, this all has to do, again, what Des Bryant's saying, and certainly what I'm saying is how we treat each other is always going to be more important.
I agree. But we shouldn't say anything about police brutality?
No. Well, listen, when you start talking about unarmed black men, Chris, the numbers are so out of proportion in terms of how many we kill versus police unarmed.
But it's not an either or.
Well, yeah, it is.
The average black person is not paid to protect and serve.
Chris, I need to be on a diet more than you do. You may have a 3-pound weight problem. I got a massive weight problem. We should focus most of the energy on my massive weight problem.
I don't have to,
but you can focus
on one. You can focus on both.
Yeah, what else? Exactly.
All right, welcome back. Christine Leahy and I are joined now by former NFL head coach Eric Mangini and Super Bowl champ Eric Davis. Let's move to Colin Kaepernick, one of my favorite topics. He has yet to be signed since opting out of his contract back in March. Cap's unemployment doesn't come as a surprise to me, but the same can't be said for some of his former 49ers teammates who expressed shock that the quarterback remains unsigned. With Carlos Hyde saying, quote, I'm surprised. I've seen some quarterbacks that got signed that Cap is way better than, in my opinion, but I'm not a GM. I'm not a head coach. And Navarro Bowman adding, I think he's proven that he can play at this level. He's made a choice that's kind of had a little backlash from it. These comments, again, I blame the media. I don't blame the athletes.
Why?
Because it's stupid. The media is taking, it's teammates defending him. They're shocked. No, they're not. They were asked a question that there's only one answer they can give that wouldn't cause controversy and get them in hot water. Let's say they said, no, I think the guy wasn't all in on football. We only won one game with him. I'm not surprised. He's a one-win quarterback. Let's say they said, he said he did some stupid things and his value isn't worth the amount of distraction he would bring to the table. There's controversy. They've sold out a teammate. This is the equivalent of me asking you, which I do. I ask everybody here damn near every day, can you tell I lost weight? Can you tell I lost weight? There's only one thing to tell. Yeah, Jason, I can see it. You lost a half-pound right here. It's a woman said, how's this dress look on me, honey?
No, you tell her the truth.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
And so...
No, you don't.
Yes,
no.
you do. Because I know if you're telling me I look good every day, you're lying somewhere.
So, there's only one answer to give. I don't buy any of these comments. These guys are just saying what they have to say.
Well, you're going to blame the media for asking that question. They have to ask that question.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do. They're irresponsible if they don't ask it. They could have said no comment, but you're right. Even that would have made news too. But we can go to the actual subject that they're talking about. I think if Colin Kaepernick was a great quarterback, he would be signed. That's the end of the story. You still have Jay Cutler, Ryan Fitzpatrick, RG3, all available. All of them, I would say, better than Kaepernick.
No, that's not the end of the story. That's two players that have been with Colin and believe in Colin. And look, I was with Colin on offense for 2 years, and I think Colin's done a lot of good things. I think right now, because of his asking price, because of the distractions, he's not signed. Should he be signed at some point? Yes, of course he should be signed
What
at
if
some
his
point.
asking price never goes down?
It will come down because the market dictates it, and he's going to want to play.
He's delusional.
And then you're going to go through the draft. But what I can say about Colin and teams is if you have a concern about the distraction or how he's going to be, bring him in, meet with him, put it on the table, set out your expectations. If he's willing to do that, then think about moving forward with it. I don't think it's unreasonable to talk to a player. Colin's a reasonable guy. Talk to him, see where his mindset is. He played much better last season than he did the year before. I know we want to look back and say...
16 and
there were a lot of things that had to do with how many games they won.
Hold on a second. We can't say that he's the only reason the 49ers were 2 and 16.
I just asked the question.
You're making
or 2 and 14.
He is a reasonable guy, and you can sit down and talk to him. But there have been plenty of teams who have signed players with major distractions, and they've been signed. So I don't see why Kaepernick...
Which makes it that much more unreasonable.
Malcolm Jenkins raised a black fist all season. He's still on the team.
But everything that's going on, but he wasn't the catalyst of all of that. Cap was the catalyst of Malcolm Jenkins holding up his fist. You know that.
Jenkins can still play and help.
Well, a part of it is what has happened with his play. But Navarro Bowman, I know well, you know well. Navarro will tell you how he feels. And what happened with Cap taking this stance, it has given him an opportunity to be seen by these guys as a man and to learn a lot about him. Most of the people for a long time viewed Cap as a Hollywood guy that wasn't all in. I actually think guys, whether they liked his stance or not, they started to have conversations with him. And I think Cap is probably more equipped now to run a huddle and command a huddle than he was before. And I'll tell you why, because guys didn't like him. They didn't respect him as a guy that was all in. And the one thing that I'm talking about before this. I'm saying before this.
And that's why he did it. He wasn't respected.
No.
This wasn't about the movement. This is about his respect and his black credibility.
Hold on. That's not why he did that.
Then why isn't a team hiring him?
Because it's right before the draft, okay? So everybody has the optimism. They want to see what the quarterback situation is. His price isn't what they want. There is the distraction issue. It's not just clearly his play. They're going to get through that. In terms of guys not
Look at him. He's a toothpick. He's a vegan.
In terms of guys not liking him, I don't think that's totally true. I was in that room with Colin for 2 years, and guys liked him. A lot of guys liked him. Was he perfect? No. Is any player perfect?
A lot of guys liked him, but I had a whole lot of conversations with a whole lot of guys in that locker room, too, that didn't like him.
Yeah, well, and I bet you some of those guys people didn't like either.
Of course, and I'm saying that's a major part of it.
You think I like you? I mean.
No, I know, but hey, you look great. Looks like you lost a lot of weight. Seriously, you look fantastic.
No, but listen, I'm telling you, if the guy could play in a real way, he's got a one-system quarterback resume. And not a lot of people run that system. He's a guy that...
Jason,
what?
If you take the top 100 quarterbacks in the world, 64 of those guys are going to be on teams. You're telling me Cap is number 65?
No.
Then he deserves an opportunity.
He may be number 29. But when you add on the fact that he weighs $190 now because he's a vegan, that if you go to his social media deal, it ain't got a damn thing to do with football. He's not all in on football. He's all in on the paycheck and being a celebrity and having a platform.
What is he about vegans not being able to be
he runs the football, and now he's a toothpick.
So when Tom Brady eats well, he's praised for it. When Colin Kaepernick is a vegan, then he's a toothpick.
Tom Brady's not a toothpick. Tom Brady's not a toothpick, and Tom Brady's not known for running the football. Tom Brady can find more than one receiver. He's not a one-read quarterback.
When we were there with Jim Harbaugh, it was a multiple system. He had multiple checks on every play and handled it very well. Was his play perfect? No. Can he do things with his feet? Yeah. Are there a bunch of college quarterbacks that are going to come in this year and not play close to Colin Kaepernick? Yes. Is he a distraction? Is this issue a distraction? Yes. Can you sit down with him and be reasonable and get to a point where he adds value? I think you can. And I think he's going to play.
Player. That's what a lot of executives
we talk about
he's
this.
He's
a descending player because he had an off year. And then when he has a good year, it's going to be like, look at, he's incredible.
You, Thank you. Good job.
This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Cowherd assures me he's back tomorrow. Maybe then we could talk about my NFL starting quarterback rankings. I posted those on the Big Lead, and of course everybody's angry. How could Andrew Luck be third? How can Marcus Mariota be so high? Don't you love the internet, everybody? Don't you just love the internet? It really is fun because nobody agrees on anything. Talk to you tomorrow.